What's up, guys? We are back with a big Friday of college football picks for Friday, October 18th. Last Friday, we went 2-1. Let's see if we can find the sweep on this one. Yesterday, our picks looked pretty good there on Monday Night Football. We hit Denver -2.5. That was an easy blowout win on a larger sized wager. We had Spencer Rattler there over 174.5 passing yards. A real bad beat there. He got yanked out very, very close to that number. Yeah, so we weren't able to catch that one, but we had Kamara under 69.5 rushing yards. That was an easy win. He got very little action. Vele kind of felt like a bad beat as well. We had the 30+ receiving yards bet on him at +105. He had a 20-yard reception very early in the game and then nothing after that. On the baseball side, we had Cleveland +100. That was a nice 7-5 win there in extra innings. Crazy stuff in that game. We also hit a player prop over there with Matthew Boyd over 3.5 strikeouts at +120. Definitely put that one on the board. And on the college football side, guys, we had the over in that Boston College Virginia Tech game, over 48.5. That one was good as gold. On the premium side, our NCAA football guy did hit Virginia Tech there at -6.5 as his premium play. So pretty good stuff out there, guys. Let's get after it here. We've got a great video for you today covering all 4 games and giving you my best bets on the side and over-under on each game. I'm also going to take a look at both MLB games and get into some baseball props. If you want to win all of your bets here in Week 8, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the value of the early lines. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments absolutely warms my heart. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, UFC, NHL, and we have the NBA regular season right around the corner. NCAA football has been one of our most profitable sports over the years, and we have a seasoned expert capper over there who's been killing it all season long. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got Florida State Seminoles going on the road to take on the Duke Blue Devils in an ACC showdown. Florida State comes into this game 1-5 on the season, so they have not exactly been having a great time out there in general, and they're 1-4 in ACC play, so things have been a little bit rough. Last week, they didn't play terrible against number 15 Clemson. A 29-13 loss is obviously not what they're aiming for. They do have that one win over Cal. They've played some close games this season, but definitely a lot there to work on. I mean, last week against Clemson, we did see Brock Glenn look much better throwing the ball, guys. 2 touchdowns, 228 yards. He was picked off once, so that's not ideal, and the running game really couldn't get going for the Seminoles, but they were clearly playing against a team that had them, I don't know if dominated is the right word, but for sure a team that had a big advantage on them in terms of talent. So yeah, not the easiest matchup there for Florida State, even playing at home. We did see Landon Thomas have a very good day catching the ball there. Good stuff in that regard. And we did see the Seminoles only turn the ball over once in the game. So only a single interception there, their only turnover against a very good opponent. Definitely reason for to think they're improving a little bit as the season goes on. They held Cade Klubnik to only 235 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. He only completed 19 out of 33 passes, which for him is not an incredible day. We did see Clemson focus more on the running game, and they were dominant in that respect. So for sure, something to be concerned about here for Florida State. But I do think they can feel decent, only giving up 29 points to a very, very potent Clemson offense. So we'll see what they can do out there going up against Duke, obviously. But yeah, I think the Seminoles may be a team that's being just a little bit disrespected right now. Obviously, they're not having a great season. Like, don't get me wrong, but a very close game against Georgia Tech, a very close game against Memphis, that win over Cal, getting blown out at SMU. That's going to happen to quite a few teams this season. So I'm not, really going to run them down about that. On defense, they're top 80 in the nation. Nothing too amazing out there, but I don't think this team is really deserving of getting clowned on like they have been so far this year. So we'll see what they can do here. Like I said, guys, taking on the Duke Blue Devils, who come into this game fresh off of their first loss of the season. Duke 5-1 on the year. They lost last week at Georgia Tech. A bit of a letdown after a 1-point win there over USC. at Georgia Tech. In that loss, obviously falling 14-24. We didn't like what we saw from Duke. Yeah, Malik Murphy, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 205 passing yards, but maybe more importantly, the Duke running game could not get going, and it appears when that running game stalls, this offense in general is going to have a very, very rough time out there. I mean, Star Thomas, only 48 yards on 14 carries, no rushing touchdowns in the game. We saw Duke turn the ball over once. Yeah, only 14 points. This has not been a very good offensive team for Duke. They rely heavily on their defense and running game, and if one of those doesn't really show up, they're going to have a very rough time. And the defense didn't look great last week either. They could not stop the run whatsoever against Georgia Tech. They gave up 167 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns, which isn't horrifying, but they had 0 interceptions. They created 0 turnovers in the entire game. If that's what we're going to see from this Blue Devils defense heading forward, rough days are on the horizon here for Duke. So we'll see what happens. I'm not loving what I saw from them defensively, not loving what I saw from the offense. I mean, yeah, just not a lot of positives right now. This team is struggling a little bit. It feels like they're maybe getting a little bit overvalued. They're a team that has played a pretty weak schedule overall. They played some very close games against some weak opponents. They beat UConn, guys, there in week 3, 26-21. UConn is terrible. They beat Northwestern 26-20. That's not a very good team. They had a cupcake win mixed in there, but beating UNC by only a single point, that is probably going to be the worst team in the ACC. So not really loving what we're seeing from the Duke Blue Devils coming into this game. Florida State, guys, they are 2-4 against the spread this season. They are 5-1 to the under this year. Duke is 3-2-1 against the spread this year. They are 4-2 to the under as well. Looking at the numbers, the Blue Devils are 3-point favorites playing at home in this one. We've got an over-under of 42.5. Guys, I'm leaning towards Florida State at +3 in this one. I know it's a contrarian play here, taking Florida State with that field goal. There's no denying they have the more overall talent here compared to Duke. The Seminoles simply haven't put it together this year. They're not utilizing that talent well. It's now or never for FSU if they want to put together some kind of run to try and make it into a bowl game. They've faced a much tougher schedule than Duke, and we feel like the Blue Devils, this is kind of just fool's gold looking at them right now with this 5-1 record. They are not actually that good. In their toughest test on the young season, Duke lost by double digits at Georgia Tech. Their offense struggled yet again. This Duke offense is absolutely terrible. So I think Florida State and the points in the contrarian play here, taking them on the road. In terms of the over-under, we've got some very obvious trends here pointing towards the under. At some point, that has to swing back. But right now, guys, I think we are siding with that under 42.5. I don't think we're going to see a ton of offense in this game, but the under, not my favorite play in this one. Definitely think Florida State +3 is the side with the most value. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the number 2 Oregon Ducks going on the road to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. Guys, Oregon comes into this game flying high. They just beat Ohio State there last week, 32-31, a barn burner of a game. They are still undefeated on the season, putting up some very, very good performances. Some may be a little bit questionable, but overall, we are loving what we're seeing from Oregon out there. Dylan Gabriel, 2 touchdown passes, 341 yards through the air. He also ran for a touchdown pass, and the guy turned the ball over a grand total of 0 times. Elite stuff there in a win over an elite opponent. We saw the running game for the Ducks look very good in that win as well. 23 carries, 115 yards, and a touchdown. This is just a team that can absolutely move the ball on offense. We saw Evan Stewart look amazing there in the passing game. 7 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. He caught a 69-yard pass out there. Nice. This is an offense that can absolutely put up some points. The defense, definitely a little bit concerning out there, guys. They generated a grand total of 2 turnovers. They were both via the fumble, despite Ohio State throwing the ball 35 times. Yeah, Oregon looks very, very vulnerable to the pass, if you're asking me, guys. Will Howard completed 28 of 35 passes for 326 yards against them, and they got 0 interceptions. Ohio State also did a good job of running the ball. Like I was saying, guys, this Oregon defense really not one that I am necessarily thrilled about. So we'll see what they can put together in this one, but they were straight up not having a great time there against Ohio State, a game that really went down the wire. Either team could have won that game. Oregon has to feel pretty lucky to be the one that came out on top. So we'll see what they can do in this matchup against the Boilermakers. Overall this season, what we've seen from Oregon has been impressive, but they haven't really faced a lot of super tough tests. I mean, they played a really close game against Boise State. There's an exciting team for you. We saw them blow out UCLA. Nobody really cares about that. Their win over Michigan State is not looking any better. So yeah, right now, Oregon at number 2 in the nation, really the only solid win they have is over Ohio State, a team that is also relatively unproven this year. So we're going to see what the Ducks can do here going on the road to take on the Purdue Boilermakers, who are in search of their first win since winning in week 1 in a blowout. Guys, they had an absolute heartbreaker last week against number 23 Illinois. We saw Purdue lose that game 50-49. Rough stuff out there, guys. The Boilermakers are a feisty team, no doubt about that. In that very tough loss, overtime loss, yeah, we saw the passing game look excellent, guys. Ryan Brown, 3 touchdown passes, almost 300 yards through the air, no interceptions. He also ran for 118 yards on 17 carries. We also saw, just in general, the Purdue running game continue to thrive. They looked very good out there against a very tough opponent. We have multiple wide receivers really putting in work there. Overall, guys, maybe the most impressive thing about this game for Purdue was, besides the fact they scored 49 points, they turned the ball over 0 times. That is a huge statistic out here. This is definitely something we are going to be very locked in on. On defense, we didn't love what we saw from the Boilermakers. They gave up almost 400 passing yards. They struggled against the run as well. So obviously that's a major concern here going up against a high-powered Oregon Ducks offense. But right now, guys, Purdue, they're doing some positive things. They did force a turnover in that game, so that's something. And yeah, playing a tough game against a very hot Illinois team, I got to give you some credit there. That was a pretty gutsy thing to do for a Purdue team that, hasn't been finding a ton of success this season, but definitely still putting in major efforts out there. So we'll see what they can do here in a very tough matchup against Oregon. I mean, the Boilermakers this year haven't put up amazing statistics, obviously, they're searching for their second win of the year, but I have kind of liked what we've seen from them. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Boilermakers at -28.5. We've got an over-under of 60.5 out there. Oregon 2-4 against the spread this year. They're 3-3 over to the over/under. Purdue 2-4 against the spread as well. They are 4-2 this year to the over. Guys, unfortunately on this game we have a premium pick over at stumpthespread.com, so not going to be able to give you my lean on the side. But in terms of the over/under here, guys, I think it is very reasonable to take this under. Purdue, not a great team, probably not going to score a massive amount of points. Oregon is a little bit scary to me out there. 60.5 points, though, is an absolute monster load. So go ahead and give me the under in this game as a small lean, but I think the better side in this one is, the play against the spread, which unfortunately I can't give out here, at least not right now. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA Football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting, I'm not the NCAA Football capper for stumpthespread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I'm seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers NCAA football, and the research he puts in keeping track of all of these teams is actually wild. His in-depth knowledge has made college football one of our most profitable sports, bringing tons of value to our premium members. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new, and become a channel member for early access to all of our NCAA football and NFL videos. Now, guys, back to the games. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Oklahoma State Cowboys going on the road to take on the number 13 BYU Cougars. Oklahoma State comes in this game riding a 3-game losing streak, but with losses against Utah, at Kansas State, and then at home against West Virginia. Those are not the worst losses you could be suffering. This Cowboys team has had a bit of a rough way to go. They've put up some wins, not terrible wins. They are having a little bit of trouble here in the conference schedule, but I do think there's a chance that this pretty talented team could kind of turn things around here. They've been a pretty big disappointment. They got very uneven quarterback play there against West Virginia, which not the easiest defense to go against for sure. We did see the running game struggle as well. Up and down, guys, just not a very good game there for Oklahoma State against West Virginia. So they find themselves in something of a bounce back spot here, so that has to be at least slightly taken into account in their game, in a very tough road environment there at Kansas State. We did see some good things. I mean, they put up 20 points in that game. Alan Bowman struggled in that one as well, but Oklahoma State was very able to move the ball on the ground, so that's a big positive. On defense, they forced a turnover. They did a good job of limiting the passing game, a terrible job there of limiting the running game. So yeah, definitely plenty of reason for concern here about Oklahoma State. State, but I think there's also room for some optimism about this Cowboys team that generally, is regarded as very talented. They just really haven't been able to translate that talent into, tons of success here in conference play. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what we get from Oklahoma State in this one. It's been a rough way to go so far, but I don't think that necessarily has to continue. Alan Bowman has put up good numbers over the course of the season, maybe not so much lately, but this team is still 16th in the NCAA in passing yards per game. So we'll see what they can do here taking on BYU. Obviously a very, very tough opponent. The Cougars still undefeated on the season, ranked 13th in the nation. Last week, a dominant 41-19 win over Arizona. So definitely take that. They handled Kansas State earlier in the year very comfortably, and that 18-15 win over SMU, that was at SMU, is starting to look better and better. Last week against Arizona, guys, we saw good stuff from the Cougars. They were killing it out there, no doubt about it. Jumped out to only a 14-7 lead there at halftime, but really dominated in the second half. They were forcing plenty of mistakes out there. We saw good things from BYU in the passing game. 3 passing touchdowns total, 218 yards. I'm not going to say we're in love with their quarterback situation, but that running game definitely looks excellent out there, guys. They had 147 yards on 27 carries and a touchdown. Very, very good stuff in the running game. We did see them turn the ball over once, so that's not ideal. They were able to force 4 turnovers of their own, not something that I necessarily expect them to be able to do on the regular, but hey, they'll take it. Arizona definitely was throwing the ball up for grabs there at the end of the game. Overall, this BYU defense struggled against the run in the win. I'm not going to say they struggled against the pass. They certainly did not, but slowing down the running game was definitely a major area of concern there, and it could be an area of concern for them in this game as well. So kind of have to see what they do out there. BYU over the course of the season, guys, they are top 32 in points scored, so that's nice, but other than that, not a whole lot of crazy statistics that jump out at me. So we'll kind of have to see what they can do here playing at home against Oklahoma State. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, the Cougars 9.5 point favorites in this one. We've got an over under of 52.5. Looking at some trends, Oklahoma State, they are 2-4 against the spread, 3-3 over under this year. BYU, guys, still undefeated against the spread, 6-0 against the spread, 4-2 to the over this season. Guys, this is another kind of contrarian play here, but I like Oklahoma State at plus 9.5. They've been the biggest disappointment in the Big 12 this season, coming in as a very popular pick to win the conference. Obviously at 0-3 in league play, that's looking like a dream that's not going to be a reality. I feel like Oklahoma State is better than what they've shown, and this could be an opportunity to buy at a very, very low spot here on the Cowboys. Oklahoma State has actually put up some decent offensive numbers this season, but they can't get out of their own way, making a lot of mistakes. Oklahoma State has the offense to keep pace here with BYU, and even in the tough road environment, we see the betting value here on Oklahoma State's side getting over a touchdown. If you wait a little bit, guys, this could get all the way up to 10. I would not be shocked. That would be a nice little key number to see this thing pass, but plus 9.5, I don't mind that at all. And in terms of the over-under here, 52.5, I think taking Oklahoma State and the points here makes me lean towards the over in this game. BYU definitely plays some high-scoring games. We haven't seen quite the exact same thing from Oklahoma State, but they've played their share of high-scoring games as well. I think we'll see plenty of offense in this one, with Oklahoma State keeping pace right there with BYU. So you could also give me the over as a small lean. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Fresno State Bulldogs going on the road to take on the Nevada Wolfpack. Fresno State comes into this game 3-3 on the year. They opened the season with a 30-10 loss at Michigan, which it looked nice that they had scored 10 points against Michigan, but that's not looking nearly as good here down the stretch. Followed that up with 3 consecutive wins, not against the toughest opponents. They got blown out against UNLV, and last week lost a 1-score game there against Washington State. So we'll see if they have a bounce back in them. 1-1 in Mountain West play, 3-3 on the season. I don't think this is a team we necessarily need to be terrified of, but they've done, a few positive things out there this season, no doubt about that. Last week against Washington State, guys, we saw Mikey Keene look a little bit shaky there under center. He got picked off twice, tossed 1 touchdown, 220 yards, completed 24 of 36 passes. The running game there for Fresno State is really the story of this game, though, guys. We saw Elijah Gillum, 20 carries, 120 yards, 1 touchdown in the game. Generally speaking, guys, Fresno State going to be a team that definitely wants to move the ball on the ground anytime they have the chance, and it seems like they're very often going to have that chance because they are definitely a team that can move it on the ground. In terms of the passing game, like I was saying, maybe not ideal. They only turn the ball over those 2 times for those interceptions, so yeah, got to clean those up. If you don't make make those 2 mistakes, there's a good chance they could have possibly won this game against a very good Washington State team. We saw them look good on defense out there. They had 1 interception, allowed 0 passing touchdowns in the game. They really didn't, give up a crazy amount there to the run. I mean, 12 carries, 63 yards, not too much. They did give up a total of 2 rushing touchdowns technically. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we have to give, Washington State some credit there, but we really liked how Fresno State played on defense in that game, generating 2 turnovers against Washington State and only giving up 25 points. So we'll see what they do here going on the road. It's not going to be the easiest road environment to play on, taking on the Nevada Wolfpack. Nevada comes into this game fresh off of a nice 42-37 win there over Oregon State. At 3-4 in the year, obviously they've had, maybe not the ideal time. They played a very competitive week 1 game against SMU. That, 5-point loss there is looking better and better as the season goes on. Getting blown out 27-0 by Minnesota probably doesn't look amazing, but that's not really a team that's, supposed to be in the same level here of Nevada. So we'll see what they can do out there. Last week against Oregon State, had to love that 42-37 win, guys. They, a very close game all the way down the stretch, and Nevada came away with, the more clutch performance there, outscoring Oregon State 21-13 in the 4th quarter. We saw Brendan Lewis, Chubba Purdy, nobody put in tons of work in the passing game, guys. This Nevada Wolfpack team is going to run the ball. They ran it 42 times for 353 yards and 5 touchdowns in that win. They do not mind just running it every down. That is not going to be a problem. You got Brandon Lewis there running it from quarterback, and Savion Red there, 23 carries, 137 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Absolutely dominant stuff there for Nevada on the ground. They are a team that is more than happy to just run it, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to take it right after you. They also were great on defense in that game, generating 4 interceptions. Dominant stuff. They did give up 348 passing yards, but 4 interceptions there really made the difference. They also gave up plenty to the rush, don't get me wrong, giving up 214 running yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. That's not exactly ideal kind of numbers, but they did come away with the win, so you have to give them credit there. They did, do some positive things, generating those turnovers as well. Really helped keep them in this game. Looking at the numbers for this one, we've got Nevada at +3 playing at home. We've got an over-under of 49.5 out there. Fresno State 3-3 against the spread this season. They're also 3-3 to the over/under. Nevada, they are 5-2 against the spread this year. A very good against the spread team, and 4-3 to the over. Guys, I'm going to be running with Nevada at +3 in this one. They've been a pleasant surprise this season, putting together much better results than their very low preseason expectations. Nevada picked up a very nice 42-37 win over Oregon State in their last game. Like I was talking about, they've shown an ability to play to the level of their competition, which is always nice when you're wanting to bet on an underdog. I value San Jose State has a mid/upper tier team in the Mountain West, and Nevada nearly beat the Spartans on the road in their conference opener. That is a very big deal. Fresno State is coming off back-to-back losses, including a very disappointing result falling apart late last week against Washington State. We were also a bit surprised that Fresno State wasn't able to compete against UNLV, losing 14-59. Fresno State looks like they've taken a step back this season. Nevada has taken a clear step forward. Go ahead and give me the Wolfpack here at +3. And in terms of the over-under for this game, guys, I think we're going to see a lot of running the ball with quite a bit of success. You could definitely talk me into over 49.5 in this game, but it's not really a spot that I think has tons and tons of value. Hopping over to the MLB side of things, guys, we've got a couple of nice playoff games out there. We've got the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the New York Mets. These two teams are currently playing right now. We've got the Dodgers up 5-2 there in the top of the 5th inning. So we'll see how that one plays out. We're just going to take a quick look here at the next game in this series to see, what we end up liking. The Dodgers, they're going to be hitting the ball to Jack Flaherty in this one. Obviously, they're coming off of a very solid hitting game, and Flaherty's coming off an amazing appearance of his own. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs allowed, 6 strikeouts, and 2 walks there against the Mets. So, yeah, they're going to be seeing him again in this series. And, I would say the Dodgers have to be very pumped to put him out there on the mound, hoping this young guy that they acquired there before the trade deadline can really, hop out and make something good happen once again. He had struggled over his last few starts, but then really delivered back on the 13th. So definitely hoping for good things from Flaherty. Obviously, he's somebody that has to feel good, with what he's got to go against these Mets hitters. So expecting good stuff there. Generally expecting good stuff from the Dodgers bullpen. No major changes there. And the way they're hitting the ball right now, you have to expect them to continue to swing the bats pretty well. Nothing, no major changes there. No major disasters for the Dodgers. They're a good offensive team. They've been a good offensive team all season long. On the other side of this matchup, guys, the Mets obviously having a hard time out there in Game 4. We do not have a confirmed starter for them in this game. The Mets deciding to go with some sort of bullpen start does seem at least somewhat unlikely, but not impossible. So without more clarity here on the Mets pitching situation, obviously I can't give you a great lean on this game. I'm also a little bit worried about the Mets offense here, facing Flaherty, a guy that they clearly, somebody they don't see the ball super well against. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as well. Obviously, guys, no props for this game, no major leans on the side or the over-under until we get more clarity on who's going to be starting this game for the Mets. There could end up being a pinned comment play on this game. Make sure you're checking that pinned comment to see if I like anything from it enough to put them down there. In our other game of the night, guys, we've got the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the Cleveland Guardians. We saw the Yankees take the tough loss there in the last game, guys. They are now leading the series 2-1. They were hoping to take a stranglehold, but weren't quite able to do it. Cleveland came through there in extra innings, winning 7-5. So we're going to be looking here at Game 4. What kind of results are we going to get? Is Cleveland going to be able to pull even here? Seems like kind of a big ask, but also not necessarily impossible. The Yankees, they're going to be handing the ball in this game to Luis Gil, which is a little bit, I'm not going to say it's surprising, but it could be, it has to feel a little bit shaky, guys. You're up 2-0. Now it's 2-1, and you're handing the ball to a guy that hasn't pitched in a really long time. I mean, yesterday the Yankees can't be super pumped with what they got from Schmidt, although I guess if you would ask them before the game if they would take 4 2/3 innings and 2 earned runs, I guess they would have probably taken that. But yeah, the bullpen did fall apart late there for the Yankees, so they've got to be a little bit concerned, and handing the ball to Luis Gil in this game obviously has to it's got to fill Yankees fans with a little bit of trepidation. I mean, Gil did have some very high highs this season, but didn't go into the end of the year playing very well. The last time he pitched was back on 9/28, and he got absolutely dismantled by the Pirates, who hit 4 home runs against him in that game. Rough stuff. His last couple of starts were very, very questionable. This season against Cleveland, I mean, back on 8/20, so not that long ago, guys, 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, and 6 walks against Cleveland in a 9-5 loss there in 12 innings for the Yankees. So Luis Gil, not really somebody that's coming into this series throwing the ball well, although he's had a nice long break to kind of figure out whatever was wrong with him. Maybe he'll be able to bounce back here. We're going to have to wait and see. In terms of their bullpen, obviously the Yankees can't be too happy with what they saw yesterday, but I do think there's plenty of room for a bounce back. This Yankees bullpen has been excellent over the course of the year, so there's plenty of reason to think they're going to be better here in this game than they were yesterday, obviously, giving up all those runs and eventually losing the game in extra innings. In terms of their offense in Game 3, guys, a little bit of a struggle. We did see Torres go hitless there at the top of the order. He did have a sacrifice fly and a walk, so, not the end of the world. We saw Soto get a hit, Judge get a hit, Stanton got a hit. He had a home run in the game, so that was pretty cool. Stanton continues to really hit the ball well, so does Judge. You got to be scared, guys. If you're a Yankees team that you have Judge and Stanton both hit home runs in the game and you still lose, that's got to be a little bit frightening, guys. I mean, they're swinging the bats well coming into this one, though, so we'll see what they can do. Obviously, they've been one of the best offensive teams in the majors over the course of the season. I'm not expecting the script to just flip on that. I think they're going to be just fine out there. Not a whole lot of room for concern for me here about the Yankees bats. On the other side, guys, Cleveland's got to be riding super high here, staving off that 3-0 hole. They got, I would say, pretty reasonable stuff there from Boyd. 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, cashing that strikeout prop for us. Thank you, Boyd, for getting that 4th strikeout. He only threw 75 pitches in the game. He was pretty efficient out there. We didn't see Cleveland have the normal lockdown bullpen situation that they usually have, with Class giving up 2 earned runs there. Not a great look on 3 hits. Yeah, very, very rough stuff from him, but the bullpen, righted itself and found a way to put their team still in a position to have a chance to win, and win they did, so Cleveland's got to be feeling great. How do they feel about handing the ball to Gavin Williams in this game? Well, the dude finished the year 3-10 on the season with a 4.86 ERA. That probably doesn't feel too great, although he did close his season off throwing the ball okay. His last start was back on 9/22 against the Cardinals. 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, only a single earned run allowed. So pretty good stuff there. What can we expect from him after a long layoff? That's very hard to predict. What can we expect from him going up against the Yankees? Well, the last time he faced the Yankees was back on 8/22, so not technically that long ago. It was at Yankee Stadium. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run. He walked 4 and struck out 5. So not what I would term as amazing stuff. For sure, definitely some room for concern here about Gavin Williams on the mound against the Yankees. Obviously, the Cleveland bullpen, not going to start freaking out about them. There were some mistakes were made there in the last game, but overall, this is still the dominant bullpen that was so good over the course of the year this season. So we'll see what they can do out there. I'm expecting good things from the bullpen. Maybe not great stuff from the starter in terms of their offense, guys. Coming up with 7 runs there against the Yankees has to feel amazing. Fry hitting that home run there, that 2-run home run in the bottom of the 10th inning, had to feel amazing. We saw decent stuff out there. I mean, Ramirez continues to not maybe look amazing. 1 hit, though, so that's nice. Kwan at the top of the order going hitless. Did not have that on my bingo card. Definitely a spot you want to look at as a possible bounce back for Kwan. Up and down the lineup, though, 11 total hits. We saw 3 home runs hit by Cleveland, so that's pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, Manzardo and Fry out there. Very, very nice to see if you're a Cleveland Guardians fan. So we'll see what they can do out there on offense in this game. I'm expecting decent stuff depending on what we get from Luis Gil. So looking at the numbers for this game, the Yankees are minus 120. The Guardians are plus 105. We got an over-under of 7.5. The Yankees are 50-31 on the road. That's an MLB best road record. They are 42-36-3 to the over on the road. Cleveland 51-30 at home, a very good home team. They're also a slight over team when playing at home themselves. In terms of a side in this game, guys, I am leaning just slightly towards the Yankees here at minus 120. I've got more faith in Luis Gil than I really have in Gavin Williams, and I feel like the bullpens are close to a push at this point in the year, so that's going to be my lean on the side. Definitely backing the Yankees and Luis Gil, but very, very tough to know what to expect from a pitcher who's facing that long of a layoff and wasn't throwing the ball well there at the end of the season. In terms of the over-under here, we've got an over-under of 7.5. We had 12 total runs scored in the last game, 10 total runs there scored in 9 innings, so definitely going to be leaning a bit towards the over in this spot. I'm not super hyped up about Gil. I'm not super hyped up about Gavin Williams. Both bullpens have shown themselves very capable of getting banged up a little bit. So yeah, over 7.5 runs in this game seems extremely reasonable to me. Now, guys, let's hop over and look at some game props and some player props. First up, you guys always love those no run or yes run first inning. Well, in this game, we are looking at it as a yes run first inning spot. I know that maybe isn't super appealing after we saw no runs scored in the first inning yesterday. We did see runs in the second inning, though. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But if you're committed to doing a no run or yes run first inning, I would lean a bit towards yes, especially with 2 rusty pitchers out there on the mound. In terms of some hitter props, guys, I like Torres for the Yankees over 1.5 total bases. A little bit of a bounce back for him after going hitless there in the last game and going up against what might be some mediocre pitching. I think he's in great shape to get on the board early and often. On the same side there, guys, still on the Yankees, I think Soto to get a hit in this game is extremely live. He did not have a hit there yesterday, so it's a little bit of a bounce back spot, and he's somebody that's been swinging the bat relatively well here in the playoffs. I also like Volpe to get a hit in this one. He had 2 runs scored and 1 hit there yesterday. He's swinging the bat well, and down there further in the lineup, you can get a much better price. On the Cleveland side, guys, I like Ramirez to hit a home run in this game. Luis Gil gave up 4 home runs in his last start. He gave up a home run in his last start against Cleveland. I think Jose Ramirez there to get a home run in this game for Cleveland is very, very live in this game. I also like Lane Thomas to get a hit in this one. He continues to swing the bat well, guys. 2 runs scored and 1 hit for him and 2 walks there in the last game. So good stuff there from Thomas. I'm expecting that to continue. And in that bounce back spot we were talking about, guys, Kwan had 6 at-bats. He was walked twice, but couldn't come up with a hit. I like him over 1.5 total bases in this game. I think we'll see him hit the ball much better in this one. He's a guy that's going to be getting on base. I could see him have a couple of hits or hit a double. He's got enough speed to, stretch some doubles. So I think over 1.5 total bases in a bounce back spot for Kwan seems extremely reasonable. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow from our sports betting action.